Bistro, back alley. Evening rain taps gently on the cracked concrete behind the upscale restaurant. Dim yellow light spills from the back door as Daniel, late 30s, apron stained and sleeves rolled up, steps outside with a takeout box clutched in his hand. His movements are deliberate, quiet, almost ritualistic. A man sits against the wall, bundled in an old army coat. Grimy fingers, weathered eyes. His name isn't known yet, but his gratitude is clear. Homeless man, softly. Didn't think you'd remember. Daniel, small smile. I remember empty nights. That's enough. Daniel hands him the box. Warm steam curls into the cold air. Inside, the untouched staff meal he didn't eat. Chicken, mashed potatoes. The man opens it like it's treasure. Homeless man, voice cracking. You got a name? Daniel, not important. Just eat while it's hot. Daniel turns to head back in. Restaurant kitchen, continuous. Fluorescent lights hum. The bustle of prep has faded. Only a few dishwashers remain. Daniel walks in quietly, tossing his gloves into the trash, brushing past the surveillance monitor screen flickering by the prep table. On screen, a grainy shot of him handing the box to the homeless man. Off to the side, unseen, the manager, Mr. Rickard, 50s, suited too sharp for this late, leans closer to the monitor. His brow furrows. Mr. Rickard, to himself. What's this now? Small apartment, night. The apartment hums with quiet struggle. A single flickering lamp. Second-hand couch. Daniel places a plastic grocery bag on the tiny kitchen counter. Inside, 2 bananas, a loaf of bread, off-brand peanut butter. Jacob, 8, rushes over in pajama pants and a superhero shirt that's 2 sizes too small. Jacob, did you get the kind with the crunchy bits? Daniel pulls a face. He didn't. Daniel Crunchy ran away this week. Said Smooth was taking over. Jacob, laughing, rebellion in the peanut kingdom? Daniel nods, ruffling his son's hair. Kitchen table. Later. They eat peanut butter sandwiches in silence. Jacob swings his legs under the table, eyes curious. Jacob, Miss Taylor gave us field trip forms today. Science Museum. Real astronauts' gloves. Daniel. That sounds fun. Jacob. It's $12. Can I go? A pause. Daniel takes a slow bite of his sandwich, chewing like time might help the answer. Daniel, small smile. Of course you can. Jacob lights up. Daniel forces the smile wider. Jacob? Really? We can afford it? Daniel. We'll make it work. He turns his face slightly, blinking faster. Bedroom, night later. Jacob's asleep. Daniel sits on the floor, back against the bed. A small cardboard box beside him, overdue bills, a shutoff notice, and the folded field trip form. He signs it anyway. Restaurant office. Same time, Mr. Rickard rewinds the security tape again, pausing on the moment Daniel handed off the food. Mr. Rickard. Slowly, I told him once. Restaurant, next morning. Sunlight filters through spotless glass. White tablecloths, polished silver. Daniel adjusts napkins one by one, eyes tired but focused. He's early, always is. Mr. Rickard walks in, crisp suit. Expensive watch flashing as he checks his phone. Mr. Rickard, Daniel, office. Now. Office. Continuous. The office is small but decorated like it matters. A plaque that says, Excellence is non-negotiable. Daniel stands. Mr. Rickard sits, tapping the table with a pen. Mr. Rickard. You know our policy on waste. Daniel. Yes, sir, I do. Mr. Rickard. Then explain why I'm watching you feed street people on company property. Daniel's silence stretches. He looks at the framed wine awards behind Rickard instead of his face. Daniel. It was leftovers, sir. I didn't think anyone would. Mr. Rickard. That's the problem. You didn't think. His tone sharpens, cutting through the quiet. Mr. Rickard. Conte D. This is a luxury establishment. Presentation matters. Optics matter. He leans forward. You can't fix the world with scraps, Daniel. Daniel exhales slowly. Daniel. Maybe not, but sometimes scraps are all people get. For a beat, Rickard says nothing. Then, he stands. Mr. Rickard. You want to save someone? Save yourself first. Do it again and you're gone. Daniel nods, jaw clenched. His reflection in the glass cabinet looks smaller than before. Locker room later. He opens his locker. Inside, a photo of Jacob, taped crookedly beside a small lunchbox. He traces the photo's corner, whispering, Daniel. Just one more week, buddy. City Street. Lunch rush. The restaurant's patio buzzes with expensive laughter, clinking glasses, and plated perfection. Daniel weaves between tables, balancing trays, smiling where required. Across the street, slouched beneath a bent traffic sign, sits the same homeless man. His eyes follow Daniel, but not with hunger, with something deeper. Recognition, maybe. Kitchen. Minutes later, Daniel stands at the counter. A half-eaten fillet of salmon sits under a silver dome. The guest waved it off. He checks the clock. Quick glance left. No one's watching. Back alley. Moments after, Daniel walks the same path, box in hand again. The man is already waiting this time. Daniel figured you'd be gone. The man shrugs, adjusting his sleeves. Homeless man. People move fast when they have somewhere to be. Daniel. You got a name yet? Homeless man, still thinking about it. Daniel hands him the food. The man nods without looking in the box, like he trusts him now. There's a silence, but not awkward. Just quiet. Daniel. You always sit here? The man wipes his mouth gently. Homeless man. Only where the light's warm. Daniel smiles. A real one. They sit together for a beat. Restaurant. Same time, Mr. Rickard glances out a small frosted window, his lips tight. He doesn't say a word. Street. Moments later. The man rises. Daniel's already gone. He walks slowly. Past dumpsters. Past graffiti. Until a sleek black car waits by the curb. He opens the rear door. Steps inside. No hesitation. The car pulls off. Restaurant, late evening. The dinner rush has just died. Soft jazz floats over the empty tables. Daniel leans against the kitchen counter, exhausted. Eyes on the last plate of untouched risotto. He hesitates, then moves. Back alley. Moments later. Steam rises from the container in Daniel's hands. He steps into the cold night. The homeless man is already there, sitting beneath a broken streetlight. Daniel kneels beside him. Daniel. It's not much, but it's hot. Homeless man. You always say that like it's not everything. He accepts the box. Their hands briefly touch. A quiet kindness. Restaurant office. Simultaneous, a red dot blinks on the security feed. Mr. Rickard stands, watching it live. His expression hardens. Kitchen. Moments later, Daniel returns, wiping his hands. As he removes his apron, Mr. Rickard storms in. Mr. Rickard. Again? Daniel freezes. His eyes drop. Mr. Rickard, Conte D. Did I not make myself clear? Daniel, it was going to be tossed. He hadn't eaten all day. Mr. Rickard, it is theft. Daniel steps forward, calmer than expected. Daniel. No. It's compassion. A beat. Tension builds. Mr. Rickard. Get out. Silence. The dishwasher staff freeze mid-task. Mr. Rickard, Conte D. You're done here. Don't ever come back again. Apartment window. Night Jacob watches from their second-story apartment. He sees his dad walk up the street, hands in his pockets, shoulders heavy. Jacob's small hand presses to the glass. A silent figure watches him leave the pawn shop. It's the same homeless man apartment, night dim lamplight. The fridge hums like it's trying to fill the silence. Jacob lies curled under a thin blanket. His soft cough breaks the stillness. Daniel crouches beside his sleeping form, placing a cool cloth on the boy's forehead. He lingers there, hand resting over Jacob's. Flashback. Years earlier. A hospital hallway. Daniel paces as his wife lies behind a curtain. The monitor flatlines. A nurse silently pulls the curtain closed. Back to present. Daniel wipes his face, jaw tight. He rises, crosses the room and opens a drawer. Inside, an old wedding ring, silver, scuffed, but clean, pawn shop. Late night a bell jingles as Daniel enters. The clerk doesn't ask questions, just holds out his hand. Daniel lays the ring down. Clerk. Best I can do is 30. Daniel swallows hard. Nods. Pharmacy. Moments later. A brown bag tucked under his arm. Daniel walks alone down a quiet street. The night swallowing sound. Streetlights flicker overhead like judgmental eyes. His shoulders slump with every step. Pawn shop across the street. Same time a figure stands in the shadow of a lamppost. Hands in coat pockets. Still. Watching. It's the homeless man. He doesn't follow. Doesn't move. Just watches Daniel disappear into the dark. Close on the man's eyes. Unreadable. Then slowly, something soft flickers there. Recognition? Guilt? Memory? The homeless man quietly writes something down in a notepad. Local soup kitchen. Late afternoon, steam floats above giant metal pots. The room hums with quiet chatter, clinking spoons, and the smell of lentils and hope. Volunteers in hairnets move through rows of people, some smiling, some silent. Daniel stands awkwardly behind the counter, gloved hands frozen over a ladle. Woman, 60s. To Daniel, kindly. First time, Daniel nods. Woman, just serve with your heart. That's the only rule that matters here. He scoops stew into bowls, one by one. Time slows. For the first time in days, no one's rushing him. No manager shouting. No ticking clock, just presence. Soup kitchen. Later, Daniel sits beside a man with a missing tooth and a laugh like gravel. Man, you from the restaurant up on Main? Daniel used to be Man. They lost more than a good cook then. Daniel laughs softly. It surprises him. Across the room, the homeless man, clean now but still in the same coat, sits alone at a corner table. He watches Daniel interact, eyes thoughtful. He pulls a small notebook from his coat pocket. Worn leather cover. He scribbles something with a stubby pencil. Slowly, with care. Kindness doesn't go unnoticed. Neither does courage. Soup kitchen. Evening. Daniel exits, exhaling into the golden sky. He looks lighter. Across the street, the homeless man closes his notebook and slips it into his coat. He doesn't wave, doesn't approach, just watches. He opens a file with the waiter's name on it. Corporate Tower. Morning glass doors hiss open. Marble floors gleam. Receptionists type in unison behind polished counters. Executives breeze by, suits sharp, coffee cups in hand. A man in a weathered coat steps in. Not a single person stops him. Security guards nod. Not out of habit, but respect. He nods back. As he walks through the lobby, the homeless coat slips open just enough to reveal a tailored suit beneath. Not new, but classic. Understated. Wealth doesn't always shout. Elevator. Moments later. Mirrored walls. The man stands alone. He takes off the coat, folds it carefully over his arm. His reflection stares back. The beard is trimmed now. The eyes, still gentle, but no longer tired. In the overhead light, they seem sharp. Calculated, ding, executive floor. Continuous. He enters an office lined with books and architectural sketches. A nameplate on the door reads, Michael Everett, CEO. He sets the coat on a chair, straightens his tie, walks to the window overlooking the city. A quiet beat. Then he turns, walks to his desk, and unlocks a drawer. Clothes on. A file folder. Thick, labeled with a single name in bold black ink, Daniel Thomas. He opens it. Inside, a printout of the security camera footage. A copy of Daniel's termination letter. A photo of Daniel handing over a plate of food. Michael runs his fingers over the image, then smiles softly. Not out of pity, but purpose. CEO walks in casually, smiles. Haven't seen you since the soup kitchen. Job Placement Center. Day fluorescent lights flicker above worn carpet. Daniel sits among a row of hopefuls, clinging to manila folders and resumes printed at libraries. His shirt is clean but faded. No tie. His hands stay folded in his lap. Tightly. Receptionist. Mr. Thomas? You're next. He nods, swallowing whatever's stuck in his throat. Interview room, minutes later. A young hiring rep looks over Daniel's file. Hiring rep. So, you worked front of house at Eldridge and Vine for 5 years? Daniel 7. Started as a busser. Worked my way up, hiring rep. Why'd you leave? Daniel hesitates. Daniel, it wasn't a good fit anymore. The rep jots something down. Hiring rep. We do have an opening. Janitorial assistant, corporate building, downtown. 3rd shift. You'd need to start tomorrow. Daniel. I'll take it. Hiring rep. You haven't heard the pay. Daniel. Doesn't matter. I'll take it. Corporate building. Next night, Daniel stands at the back dock holding a mop and a faded blue uniform shirt in a plastic bag. He stares up at the mirrored glass building towering above him. He walks in. Lobby. Moments later. The security guard at the front desk looks up. Security guard. Name? Daniel Thomas. Here for the janitor shift. The guard checks the list, then nods and waves him through. Service, hallway. Continuous. Daniel rounds the corner. Almost bumping into someone, it's Michael Everett. In a pressed shirt, sleeves rolled. No suit jacket, just holding a coffee. Michael, smiling. Haven't seen you since the soup kitchen. Daniel freezes. Waiter. Why would you help me? CEO. Because once, someone helped me. Corporate cafeteria. Night shift. The place is quiet. Only the hum of vending machines and the faint buzz of overhead lights. Daniel mops near the glass wall overlooking the city. Michael walks in holding 2 coffees. Michael. Thought you might need something warm. Daniel glances over, confused. Daniel. You're the CEO, Michael. That's what the door says, grinning. But I've worn dirtier shirts than that one you're in. Daniel hesitates, then takes the coffee. He doesn't drink. Daniel. Why are you talking to me? Michael. Because I know what it feels like, being on the other side of the glass. Daniel leans the mop against the wall. Daniel. I appreciate the job, but I'm not looking for pity. Michael. Neither am I. Michael sits on a cafeteria chair backward, arms resting on the backrest like he's got all night. Michael. Quantity. You were fired for doing something most people don't even think about doing. Feeding someone. That speaks louder than a resume. Daniel says nothing. His fingers tap the paper coffee cup. Michael. Quantity. I run a foundation. We train people. Second chances. You'd qualify. If you want it. Daniel finally takes a sip. Daniel. Why would you help me? Michael's smile fades to something softer. Michael. Because once, someone helped me. Daniel looks away, but his throat tightens. Young CEO receives food from a stranger, a younger version of the waiter Michael's office. Night rain taps softly against the window. Michael sits alone at his desk, fingers resting on an old leather notebook, the same one he once scribbled in at the soup kitchen. He flips it open. Match cut to flashback, city bus stop, years earlier. Much younger Michael, 20s, thin and ragged, slumps on a bench. His dress shirt is soaked through. A crumpled eviction notice sticks from his back pocket. His stomach growls. People walk past without looking. Diner. Moments later, Michael sits at the counter, staring at a laminated menu he can't afford. A waiter in his 30s steps over. Young, kind-eyed, but familiar. It's Daniel, years younger. Young Daniel. You look like someone who hasn't eaten today. Michael stiffens. Young Daniel, Conte D. I made too much by mistake. Just say yes, and it's yours. Michael nods. Doesn't speak. Daniel places a plate down gently. Grilled cheese, tomato soup. Nothing fancy. Everything needed. Young Michael. Quiet. Why? Young Daniel. Because someone once did it for me. Flashback fades Michael's office. Back to present. Michael wipes his eye with the edge of his thumb. He pulls a paper from the folder labeled Daniel Thomas. A sticky note is attached. Character resume. He smiles. City. Skyline. Night a storm rolls in. But one building stands warm with light. His son visits and sees his father in a new light community cafe. Morning a cozy space. Wood counters. Chalkboard menus. Soft jazz humming under friendly chatter. The cafe is part of Michael's foundation, run by people who've been overlooked, now given a place to belong. Daniel walks in wearing a clean apron. The logo stitched on the front. Second table cafe. A woman at the counter hands him a notepad. Woman, manager. You shadow Leo this week. Start slow, end strong. Daniel smiles nervously. Montage begins. Daniel fumbles carrying 3 mugs, one nearly spills. A retired ex-con barista shows him how to make cappuccino foam with love. A volunteer teen shows him how to use the POS system. He cleans the windows before opening time, quietly humming. He stays late to wipe down the tables, twice. Cafe. 1 week later, Daniel now moves with quiet confidence. He jokes with the regulars, knows orders by heart, and wears pride like a second uniform. He pours a coffee and hands it across the counter. Daniel, extra cream, 2 sugars. Right? The elderly man nods, grinning. Cafe. Saturday afternoon. Jacob stands at the window, nose pressed to the glass. Daniel sees him. Winks. He comes outside holding a tiny hot cocoa with whipped cream. Daniel. Only the VIPs get marshmallows. Jacob. This place is yours? Daniel shrugs. Daniel, ours, maybe. Jacob beams. Pride replaces the worry in his eyes. Jacob. You look happy, Dad. Daniel just nods, the words too big for his throat. He spots his old restaurant manager as a guest upscale pop-up event. Evening string lights hang from the ceiling of a beautifully restored industrial hall. The place buzzes with laughter, jazz, and wine glasses clinking. It's the Second Table Foundation's annual gala, catered and staffed by those who once had no second chance. Daniel, now in a black shirt and pressed apron, walks confidently between linen-covered tables. He's no longer invisible. He nods to the head chef, offers a calm smile to the donors. His posture. Tall, collected. Woman on mic. Announcer. This evening's dinner is brought to you by the very people this foundation has uplifted. Pauses. Including tonight's floor supervisor, Mr. Daniel Thomas. Applause. Daniel freezes for just a second, then humbly nods. Montage. Daniel guides younger staff with calm authority. He straightens a nervous teen's tie before service. He quietly clears a spilled drink without fuss. Every action is deliberate, dignified. Banquet hall. Later that night, Daniel pours wine at a corner table, then stops. His eyes land on Mr. Rickard, his former manager, seated with donors, laughing stiffly in a rented tux. The man doesn't notice him. Daniel stands still for a moment, then walks forward, shoulders steady. He refills a guest's glass beside Rickard's. Doesn't flinch, doesn't rush. Rickard glances over, their eyes meet. Daniel simply nods once, gracefully, without a word. Rickard's expression twists. Surprise, confusion, something quieter, almost regret. But Daniel is already gone, moving toward the next table. Manager. Do I know you? Waiter. You used to. Banquet hall. Later that night, the evening winds down. Candles flicker low. Plates are cleared. Donors sip their final wines. Jazz slows to a soft piano rhythm. Daniel stands by the bar checking with the caterers. Calm, polished. Behind him, Mr. Rickard walks up, confusion heavy in his eyes. Mr. Rickard. Excuse me, you served our table earlier, didn't you? Daniel turns slowly, meets his gaze. No tension in his face, only a quiet, centered stillness. Daniel. Yes, sir. Everything to your liking? Rickard studies him. Something is gnawing at him. Mr. Rickard. You look familiar. Daniel tilts his head slightly. No emotion flickers. Just calm, Daniel, I used to work for you. At Eldridge and Vines, Rickard's jaw tenses. A beat of silence. Mr. Rickard. Oh. That was a long time ago. Daniel says nothing. Mr. Rickard. Contidi. I didn't recognize you. Daniel. People rarely do. Once you stop wearing the apron they handed you. Rickard's smile falters. He fidgets with his cufflink. Mr. Rickard. Well, good to see you've landed on your feet. Daniel. Still calm. I didn't land. I climbed. A longer pause. Rickard stares at him, then squints. Mr. Rickard. Do I know you? Daniel leans in slightly, just enough for only Rickard to hear. Daniel. You used to. Then he turns. Walks away without waiting for a reply. Rickard stands still. Forgotten in the warmth of a room he never truly belonged to. Son hugs father and says, Now you can come to my field trip. Cafe, early morning. The cafe is still quiet. Sunlight streams through the windows. Daniel sips coffee near the window, reviewing the schedule for the day. A delivery envelope sits at the counter. No return label. He opens it slowly. Inside, a check made out to Jacob Thomas. School fees, full year. A note attached. Some gifts don't need to be repaid, just passed on. M. Daniel's breath catches. He looks up. No one in sight. Only the street outside, alive with motion. Apartment. Evening, Jacob runs to the door as Daniel enters. Jacob. Dad, I have to turn in the field trip form tomorrow. Did you? Daniel kneels down, pulling the signed form from his pocket. Crisp now, paper clipped to a receipt. Daniel. You're all set. And the museum? I heard they let you touch moon rocks. Jacob lights up and jumps into his dad's arms. Jacob. You're coming too, right? Daniel pauses, then smiles. Daniel wouldn't miss it. School bus. A week later, Daniel sits at the back, surrounded by third graders and their chatter. Jacob rests his head on his father's shoulder. The chaos is warm. Daniel closes his eyes, not from exhaustion, but peace. Street corner. Same time Michael stands on the other side of the street in a wool coat, sipping coffee. He watches the bus roll past, unseen, but he smiles anyway. A hungry boy waits outside. He smiles, grabs a plate, and walks out. Just like before, second table cafe, morning. The air smells of cinnamon and rising bread. Daniel stands at the register wearing a new apron, now embroidered with manager. He gently guides a young man through the POS system. Daniel, everyone's nervous on day one. Just listen more than you speak and lead with kindness. The young man nods. Wider shot. The cafe is full. Laughter, light, second chances in motion. One woman draws with her daughter at a corner table. A man in scrubs sips coffee before his shift. A teenage boy helps bus tables, volunteering for school credit. Tip jar area. Later, Daniel empties the tip jar. Crumpled ones, loose change, a note scrawled on a napkin. Thank you for seeing me. He folds it, places it in the pocket of his apron, next to the old photo of Jacob. Second table cafe, sunset. Daniel steps outside, apron still on. He sets a small paper plate on the back ledge, simple sandwich, apple slices. A boy across the street, no more than 10, watches cautiously. Clothes torn, face wary, Daniel doesn't speak, just nods once. Soft, familiar. The boy approaches slowly, then faster, grabs the plate. Looks up, boy. Thanks, mister. Daniel crouches down. Daniel. Come by tomorrow. We serve pancakes on Fridays. The boy smiles. Runs off into the golden dusk, Daniel, V.O. You don't always know what your kindness grows into, but sometimes, if you're lucky, you get to see it bloom.